Hello, welcome to Quilting with Lori. My name is Lori Dickman, and today I'm going to be sharing with you week number 38 of my 52-week series of Scrappy blocks. In this series, I have been sharing with you every Monday a new block that you can create using your scrap stash. Today's block honors the veteran and the soldiers who have and are serving in our country. This is the block here. It's just a beautiful block that I think would be a wonderful one for every one of us to make from our scrap stash. So now let me share with you how this is done. You're going to need to download the PDF which has the template of the soldier. So make sure that you grab that. You'll find that PDF in the description box below. Make sure you grab that, save it, print it out, so that you'll have that for this. We'll be using Fusible Web, and I'll show you how to do all of that. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that if you have not already watched my video tutorial on how to get your scrap stash cut, sorted, organized, and ready to use to make beautiful scrappy quilts, then you want to make sure that you watch that video. I'll have that linked below. I also will have links to my books. This is the Techniques book, which is what I share with you in that video. It teaches you everything you need to know about getting your scrap stash cut, sorted, organized, stored, and then ready to use to make beautiful quilts. And this is a corresponding patterns book using your scrap stash. So make sure you check those out. Now let's take a look at how to put this block together. Here is the block that we're going to be making. It's made with 1.5-inch wide strips in red and white. It's made with 1.5-inch squares in blue and white. And then of course the soldier here who is saluting. And so we're simply going to be putting together our strips together first, and then our 16 patch as well. I'm going to show you how that will be done. So here it is. I need to actually turn this around for you. It's facing the right direction for me, but it's upside down for y'all. This should be over in the corner. I'll get that all turned around. But we're going to simply sew these strips together here, and we're going to sew this 16 patch together. That will go together as a unit. Then we're going to sew these 8 strips together, and then that will be attached to the top unit. Once that block is put together, pressed and squared up, then we'll also take our PDF, which is the soldier, we'll trace it onto Fusible, and we'll press this onto black fabric or whatever color fabric you want to use, and then that will be pressed onto the block itself, and it will be appliqued. So I've laid the block out here, and you can see a portion of it, but we're going to start with a 16 patch, and it's simply the lights and the blues that I have laid out, and I'm going to go ahead and web these together, and you've seen me web these together many times. I'm going to put this all together, and then I'm going to sew these 4 shorter strips together. I'll put this together as a unit, and then I will sew all of the longer strips together. So once you have your 16 patch finished, make sure you square it up to 4.5 inches. And then the next thing we're going to do is sew these 4 strips together, 2 red, 2 white. They're 1.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches in length here. So I'm going to sew those together, press those, and then I'm going to put this unit together, the top part of this flag block. Now I'm going to sew this strip, the red and white strips here, to the 16 patch. So this part is ready. Now I'm going to sew the 12.5-inch long white and red strips together. I now have these strips put together. There are 8 red and white strips for the bottom part of the block, and there are 4 red and white strips at the top attached to the 16 patch. I am going to sew this together and press it and square it up to 12.5 inches. And then the block itself is done. Then we'll work on fusing the soldier. So the block is put together and it's been squared up. Now what we're going to do at this point is trace our soldier onto fusible. And I have a light Steam-A-Seam 2 here. You can use any paper-backed fusible that you wish to use. The image of the soldier will be reversed. So I'm going to trace it onto the back, onto this paper right here. I'm going to trace this out, and then I will remove the back piece of paper, press it onto the back of black fabric, and then when we put the fabric onto the block itself, the soldier will be facing the other direction. So I have traced the soldier onto the paper-backed fusible, and now what I loosely cut around him, and now I'm going to remove the back. So the stickiness is right back here. I'm removing the back paper, and you'll notice that the front still shows his outline so that I can follow that to actually cut him out properly. And I'm placing him on the fabric, and this black fabric, it's actually reversible, so there's really not a wrong or a right side. But if you're using a fabric that does have a wrong or right side, make sure that you place the stickiness onto the wrong side of the fabric. Now what I'm going to do is press this. I'm going to take it to the iron and press this, which will secure it. Right now this is removable. I can move it around if I don't like where it's placed, but I have it on there now. I'm going to press it. That will make it permanent. Then I'm going to cut it on the line and remove this paper. I'll be right back after I press it. So right now I've already pressed it onto the fabric, and now I am cutting on that drawn line. This ensures that that fusible has come all the way to the edge of that template there. You want to make sure that it's completely fused. So I'm just cutting on this drawn line. Once that is done, then I'm going to remove the back, this paper from the back of this soldier, and then we're going to place him on the block. I'll show you that here in just a minute. So this soldier has been cut out, and don't forget to cut out the center section here from the area between his arm and his head where he's doing the salute there. And then when you remove the paper from the back, if you can't get it up, just go ahead and scratch a line into the paper backing, and that will help you to be able to remove the backing, just as I'm doing here. So this is nice and sticky here, and we are going to place it on our block. And you can go ahead and decide where you'd like it placed. Oops, there we go. So, and until you press him down, he's not permanent, so you can move him around. I'm going to get rid of some of these little flooshies. I want the bottom of him to be in the seam allowance. So let's see. I've got a little bit down in there, so that should be in the seam allowance. So I think I like where he's positioned right there. And if you don't, until you press him, he can be removed and moved around. So once you like the position of your soldier, then you can take it to the iron and press it. And just remember, once it's pressed, it's permanent. So I'm going to go ahead and applique the soldier to the block. I have loaded my machine with the black rayon embroidery thread. And I'm just keeping in my 1/4 inch seam allowance foot because I'm going to use a straight stitch to sew this on. If you're going to use a blanket stitch or any kind of a fancy stitch, make sure that you change your foot or you will break a needle. So I'm going to go ahead and begin stitching here and go ahead and just straight stitch all the way around the outside edge of this applique shape. So here are a couple of the blocks that I have finished for the soldier. It's a wonderful memorial block, and I hope that you'll try this block. Very simple one, and I think it's a wonderful block that will give honor to the veteran and those who have and are serving in our services. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope to see you again as I continue to bring more scrappy blocks and many other techniques from my quilting studio to yours. Have a wonderful week. Hope you've had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend as well. Until next time, this is Lori Dickman, Quilting with Lori. Happy quilting.